Welcome back to Lynn and Dan's Kitchen. As you can tell, we're not exactly in the kitchen, we're outside. But today we're going to be cooking outside and doing a Louisiana style crawfish boil. Now, one of my other YouTube channels is a how-to channel where I show how to do things, and one day we were boiling crawfish and I decided just to pull out the cell phone and video it real quick, and I've gotten a huge response on that, lots of comments and questions, and so I figured what better idea than to go ahead and redo that correctly. So today we're going to do the ultimate Louisiana crawfish bowl for you. But the first thing we're going to do, since we're going to hit 90 degrees today, is take off these jackets. So we'll see you back in a few. I'm going to go ahead and wash up the pot. Normally we would boil in this big commercial bowl that we have, but today we are going to do something a little more average using a 100-quart pot. If you were boiling crawfish, you'd probably use a setup like this along with a jet burner as such. So we'll be back in a minute and show you step by step. Alright, so here's our crawfish boiling setup. It's the same setup we use for crabs, shrimp. Technically, you could even put some oil in it and maybe fry catfish or something, but it's a 100-quart aluminum boiling pot on top of a jet burner. All these products are made by King Cooker, the same person or same company that makes the commercial cooker that you just saw. It has a straining basket that holds the crawfish. This helps you take them out and drain along with all your other goodies like the corn and potatoes, while leaving the water inside for serving. We have an aluminum paddle, and this is so you can keep your Cajun wife in line whenever she needs a little. She's giving me a dirty look. No, but this is for stirring, and then I have a different kind of paddle scooper that you can actually take them out of the water if you wanted to, maybe if you want to let them soak longer or what have you. So we're going to connect the propane, and next step will be to rinse off the crawfish. Okay, so here's the stars of our show. I have one plastic bin, and then I have another plastic strainer that goes inside. Sometimes these are easy to open. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case today. Here we go. So this is one sack. This happens to be 30 pounds of crawfish. Usually sacks range anywhere from the upper 20s to the low 40s. These were purchased locally. Right now it's the end of April and they were $1.59 a pound. So technically you can't beat that. A couple weeks ago for Easter, we paid $2.79 a pound, quite an expensive party. But today, much more reasonable, and we'll probably eat off of this, a family of 5, probably twice. Those of you from up north, usually I would plan something like a pound of crawfish per person, but down here in Louisiana, 5 pounds per person is a pretty good rule of thumb of what's going to happen. So I'm going to fill this up with water and rinse them off, and I'll be able to lift the basket and kind of give them a little bath before we start to get things going and boiling. Alright, now that our crawfish is clean, it's time to start getting some water heating up, and we're going to go ahead and put our spice in it. Now normally I'm not too big on throwing brand names out there, but because I get so many questions about it, I'm going to go ahead and address it. For us, it's Cajun land when it comes to crawfish. Seems to us it's a little spicier and a little less salt than the competitor Zatarain's. That being said, shrimp and crab, Zatarain's the go-to because the shrimp don't absorb as much, and the crabs need a little bit more salt to kind of seep in there and give you that spicy flavor. So for us, shrimp and crab is Zatarain's, Cajun land. For crawfish, although your preference is going to differ, there's some other brands out there. You just have to experiment until you find the ones that you like. Several people have suggested some other brands. But you know, for us, this is perfect, and we're gonna go ahead and stick with what we like. But feel free to use your type. I'm just thinking of a time that we went to a crawfish bowl and somebody used some seafood seasoning, and it wasn't crawfish bowl, it was some type of other seasoning. It almost looked like brown gravy mix, and everybody tried real hard to eat the crawfish and act like they were good. But so go ahead and experiment, but this is our recipe. Alright, our fire's on, and we're going to go ahead and add our spices. Stuff that takes a long time to boil. Lemon juice. And when you dump this in, you want to be kind of careful. You don't want that spice jumping back at you. It's unbelievably potent. You get some of that in your eye or your nose, and you will know it. Now we wait. Alright, the water's boiling now. We're going to go ahead and check a potato. Pretty hard, so the potatoes are what's going to tell us when our crawfish boil is done. Once the potato gets a little bit softer, we'll put our crawfish in and we'll let them boil for a few minutes until the potatoes are soft, and that'll be the indicator of when everything's done. Crawfish only take about 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to boil. I boil them somewhere between 5, 7, 8 minutes. You're not really going to damage the meat or anything by going a little bit longer. That way I know they're cooked. Less chance of somebody having some kind of poisoning issue from it not being cooked all the way. And that way we know our potatoes are done and everybody will enjoy it. Now is also the time that we're going to go ahead and add our sausage. Be careful not to burn yourself. For the crawfish. absorb some of that seasoning. Alright, it's been boiling a couple minutes now. I checked the potatoes. We're going to give it about another 2 minutes or so, and then we're going to shut it off, add some water to cool it down to stop the cooking process, and then it'll just be a matter of waiting 20-25 minutes to let those spices seep in and give us some nice, perfect, spicy crawfish. It's also time for our last ingredients to go in. Make sure our valves are shut off. Now we're going to add some water to the pot. What this water is going to do is just bring down the temperature enough to stop the cooking process. So we'll stop everything from cooking, but it's still going to be way hot. It's not going to cool down the food to where you're going to notice it. Crawfish will still be piping hot. Just going to cool it down and stop the cooking because we got another 20-25 minutes to wait before we can really enjoy these. And during that 20-25 minutes, all those seasonings, the salt, are going to absorb more into the potatoes, the onions, the crawfish, and that's really the secret. And you can control. If you have kind of a light duty crowd, I know that when I have a big crawfish bowl and I do multiple sacks, I like to pull the first one out right now. Anybody who can't have too much salt or complains about the spiciness, this would be their batch. But in about 20 minutes or so, this is going to be the one that's going to send some people home. Alright, that should be enough. Some people like to say put ice in it. Well, we use our ice for other things. Things that are in our ice chest, not for our crawfish. So we just use the water. You might be able to tell most of the crawfish are sinking. That's a good sign that we've got the right amount of cold water in there. As they sink, that means they're done and they're going to pick up the spices over the next couple minutes. So we'll show you the final product in a second and kind of recap, but we are almost done. Alright, so here's a shot of our finished crawfish and goodies on a tray. I'm just going to pan out a little bit so you can see our dips. And there's a whole heck of a lot more still in the pot. We're going to put those back down to soak a little bit longer. They've got a good spice to them. I have another video with how we made these sauces. You'll see the links at the end, and then I'm also going to show you how to eat a crawfish. So be sure to look out for those videos coming up soon. Alright, so that wraps up our little crawfish boil. I like to usually tell a joke and somehow I forgot to put it in there, so real quick I'm going to throw one at you. I tell a lot of Boudreaux jokes, and it's kind of a sad story because, Boudreaux died a couple years ago, and he was actually out crawfishing when he died in his boat, kind of pirogue canoe thing, and he was all alone when he died. So like I said, it was a real sad story. And his wife, when he passed away, she had to put an obituary in the paper, and so she wrote Boudreaux died. And a newspaper people called her up and said, you have 10 lines that you can put in there. Maybe you could say a little bit more about Boudreaux and his passing. And so she thought about it for a while, and she sent him back a note, and it said, Boudreaux died, pirogue for sale. Alright, so thanks for watching. We're going to sit down and enjoy some crawfish. We got some real whoppers, some nice sized ones here. They're not actually too big. When you get the really big ones like this that are almost lobster size, they're harder to peel. They're still good though, but the best thing is kind of a medium sized crawfish. So if you like the video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, leave them below. We enjoy reading all the comments. We answer as many as we can. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer them. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss our upcoming videos, especially this summer. We should be putting out a few more. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.